Hello and welcome everybody to week 2, day 2 of the LCS Challengers League presented by Subway. I'm Kangas and I'll be bringing you the action today, followed by Cubby, my amazing color caster on the day. And you even have, I just noticed, you have a little bear, a copyright free bear recently, so shout outs to that.
Oh yeah, that's great. Of course, you know, we can't have copyrights, and this one is a copyright. We only show half of it. There's a TM.
Oh, okay, yeah. So anyway. we're cutting off the symbol there.
Yeah. I just want to say too, Kangas, you know, I came prepared today. Congrats, you made an LCS cast yesterday, which is fantastic. I definitely dressed for the occasion. I think you're slacking a bit. It might have gone to your head after day 1 here.
Oh,
you know?
oh, really?
Yeah, I just want to call you out.
I'm trying to push for like the, hey, let's be more casual. We can wear what we feel comfortable in on the broadcast. You're definitely like, I'm about to pick up my kids from school, so I like that we went very different energies.
Right? Yeah. We'll be a dad one day. Push that down the line, but you know. Practice how you play. You know, we say that for our players. No, I'm kidding.
Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. All right, that's boring. Well, I don't know what job I'm going for then. I guess, you know, maybe beach bum, something like that. I want to be a surfer. But anyway, we do have some incredible matches ahead of us today for the NACL. Welcome if you're joining us from LCS. I know that they were also checking out Dokla's stream after the LCS ended. So if you want to go support Dokla, understandable. But if you want to support the up-and-coming talent, because Cubby, as you put together a fun video, the future of the LCS starts now with these players that we're about to see ahead of us. We have Wildcard taking on Mirage and Supernova taking on Maryville University. And we can actually take an updated look at the standings to see how the first week and a half have played out in the league.
Yeah, and I think FlyQuest coming in, a lot of people expected them to be top dogs, and they are meeting that expectation so far as they have gotten off to a hot start here in Challengers League. Besides that, though, I think that Supernova, they had their first appearance yesterday. Excited to see them again on the stream today, Kangas. They looked very strong, and for me, this is a team that I actually had ranked very highly as well, and I think that they really played to that expectation yesterday, and I'm excited to see if they can do it again against Maryville later in the day, who also had a good week 1 performance with that brand new roster they put together. Has some familiar faces for us in Challengers League, but some new spots over there at Maryville, the ever so talented collegiate program, and they looked really good.
We'll take a look at who's up playing today later, but first, shout-out to FlyQuest. A 4-0 start, and there are 2 teams that are chasing on their heels here. Wildcard and Supernova both started 2-0 themselves, and they have a chance to match FlyQuest with a perfect undefeated record of 4-0. A reminder, we are in best of 3s now, Fearless Draft for the Challengers League.
Yeah, and I will say, I don't really feel like we've seen the effect of that yet, Kangas. Like, a lot of people... Yeah, like have kind of asked. I think I've seen a couple things. Like, one, I think some compositions are being built more so around themes, and, like, some things that fit themes. But besides, like, you know, banning out a champ that you've played, so you can't pick that game, so, like, it gets kind of extra mileage with that, I haven't really seen a big impact. So, still curious to see, you know, when we get to the series later, if we get some creativity or how teams evolve, if we can really fear the effects of Fearless. But much like LCS, we will be on the live patch again today.
Exactly. And also, I mean, the best of 3 matches, once we get into the best of 5s, is really when Fearless starts to come online. But we have Wildcard versus Mirage kicking off the day. We actually heard from Mirage from their socials account earlier, so let's go take a look. What could that possibly mean, Cubby? Can you interpret the message, the actions performed?
No, I don't know. I'm only good here for League of Legends, Kangas. I don't really know.
It seems like they just put him in the trash bin. I don't know. It seems like clearly
really?
Allurm and Mirage just have no respect for Wildcard. Trash the deck? Come on, guys. They're undefeated.
I can always count on you, Kangas, to keep an ace up your sleeve, or in this case, in the trash. Anyway, looking at Mirage Alliance and their roster, we're going to have to see who the ace is today. As in their first win, the first game they played in their series last week, it was against Cincinnati Fear. I think they did a really nice job of playing around RJS and setting him up for success. But overall, a couple bad fights were taken from Mirage Alliance and a roster that did come together rather late, as Prismo and Dardoch were on the team, but originally Prismo was slotted to be the support and Dardoch at jungle. At a late change where they dropped Scoop, picked up Will, made the swap back because they can be flexible with this roster, and we kind of saw that Prismo and Dardoch were still picking up on things a little bit.
Yeah, when you have that last minute of a change for a roster, I think expectations should be a little lower on them early on in the split. Expectations would be higher later on once they have that chance to play together more. But they did pick up a win versus Fear. They lost 1-2 in their best of 3 versus that opponent. And now, I mean, stepping up to Smack Talk, one of the other predominant amateur organizations here in the NACL. Now, what should we expect in terms of playstyle from this roster? Are we looking at that bot side primarily?
I think that we're going to see, I mean, most teams play around bot. Also, you have a Lorem as a top laner who is that tank sponge. But I also want to see if they kind of play to enable Will. I feel like it was kind of lane-centric last time around. And that's something where we have seen Will have some success. To see as someone that, in the ever-so-stacked role of jungle in this region, is another promising player that we've had our eye on it. Every summer we've seen Will. First time we've seen him in spring, and that's fun,
yeah,
too.
First time we get the spring, the summer child blooming in spring. Let's take a look at the opposition, though. Wildcard on the Rift here. And the roster that they brought together with their 2-0 surprise win, I think, to a lot of people over Team Liquid Challengers.
I mean, you said it, man. You said that, like, questioning, whether it's a surprise or not. Let's give them the respect. It was certainly a surprise taking down TLC 2-0 in that fashion. A lot of that was just based on the fact that this team, it's a core 4 from SLU's collegiate roster, St. Louis University. So winning through Doxa, I mean, that's what they're running in collegiate. Fun fact, I mean, Surdy is their top laner, right? They have Quacker just for this wildcard roster, competing in NACL. So there's a lot of synergy already built in between these players. Also, Quacker goes way back. He played in the North Conference for CLOL, like, way back. He would have been scrimming, practicing against, Winnie and the teams that he had up at UWO in Western Ontario. I know that back then when I was coaching, I was going up against those guys in scrims. They were kicking our butts. So I know that, there's already some synergy with those two as well. This roster, like, I really feel like early in the season, we've seen teams that just have more direction in the game. I feel like picking up wins.
Sure.
Wildcard really had that against TLC. So I want to see if that can continue against Mirage Alliance. It did them a lot of favors in their first series.
Oh, as we're getting into draft, because I'm hearing that we're ready for that, I want to double down on the synergy that we saw from the team, because the core 4 looked like they were slotted in great. Quacker also slotted in fantastic to the team, pulling out things like the Darius counterpick into the Udyr, which, by the way, just got buffed. So the Quacker champ pool is looking pretty good right now.
If Whippo wants to watch some Quacker VODs, you can pick up maybe some better Darius play here in Challengers League. As
maybe
Quacker's Darius, that did some work, man. They ganked that thing. Like, it got a solo kill, and then they ganked it, like, when Vi was level 6. And it picked up the double, and then the game was over. So, went a little bit differently here on the Challengers League stage. Sometimes things get hectic, but we'll see if Quacker races us with his Darius again. I must say, I was talking to Lorem. So I interviewed Lorem. We did a great piece that our teammate Beatdown was working on this past week. He was asking players some questions, kind of threw it together. I did one with Lorem. I asked him the questions for next week. And there was a player that I was like, what player, like, do you kind of look out for, like, who's going up against? And he's like, dude, Quacker and Dragoon, like, their champ pool just destroys mine. He's like, I got to play against, like, Darius Mordekaiser as a tank player, and they're willing to, like, pick it and blind it. Like, what the heck is this, man? He's like, this is trash. So we do kind of have to see, like, the fire versus the ice here in the top lane. As Lorem, of course, very good at neutralizing top laners. Lorem's a great player in his own right with his style, but Quacker is going to take it to him. We know that from Quacker, too.
And I'm looking then at that top lane champ pool. If Quacker wants to remove some of the more blindable picks from Allure, maybe things like the Cassante, but no, it's just the Poppy ban along with Kalissa and Ashe. So still more priority on that bot side, which you had mentioned. You are looking potentially at Prismal and Dardoch to be the ones to step up for Mirage. So already Wildcard removing some of those options from them.
Yeah, and we are already seeing some of the impacts of that brand new patch. No Karma in Challengers League either.
True.
As that's we expect that to be on the ban list and 100% presence, given how strong that is. If you want to have fun in solo queue at home, play that mid and build Malignance and Profit. And that's really all you need. Because your mantra is up 24/7. But with that Enchantress taken off the board, some other picks get the slip through. Milio, still very high priority on this patch that will be locked in for Wildcard. So expect a Lucian or a Aphelios deny potentially from Mirage Alliance, as those are the two most common pairings with Milio, and oftentimes we will see those pairings be split up.
Yeah, if you go for the Lucian, I think you're forced to then go for the Nami, or you can just try and pick something that you feel will beat the Lucian Milio anyway. Varus is locked in for Prismal. Now, typically, I would see this paired with another ranged bot laner, but you can also go for an engaged champion. It's just rough to do that into the Melio. At this point, I feel like you're kind of forced to go for double range.
You could play Nautilus and just try and overwhelm it early. Also, you have the guaranteed engage later. I'm with you, though, Kangas. I think that it is difficult. I don't love Renata. So the big upset we had in LCS today was actually Shopify Rebellion going over C9. And we saw a Varus plus Milio pairing being used later into a Kalista Renata lane. Renata, you do have prio for the first 3 waves against Milio. You have prio a little bit after that, but as Milio gets levels, you can really stabilize and nullify a Renata lane. Also, your ult just gets them out of the ult from Renata later if you are the Milio with that campfire. So this is a lane that you have to have a lot of pressure early as Mirage Alliance, and I want to see if they can do things to potentially dive this lane to set it behind. That was the other story of the C9 game. They tried to dive the Milio. It went wrong once, and that game was pretty much over.
Yeah. It's important to note that Breath of Life on Melio is just a huge counter to both of these champions. Varus with the Chain of Corruption as well. You just keep your AD carry so much safer. And they do pair it with the Lucian as the AD carry in the bot lane. So I'm expecting a lot of action to happen down there. Darkwings will go back to the Orianna, more classic mid lane mage with the Azir banned away. Nobody wants to go for the Corki, so Orianna doesn't make sense.
And RJS, he does have some answers. I've seen him mostly playing mages. I would honestly could think about Syndra here to kind of shut down the Lucian and catch out Milio, but it's going to be a different mage. It's actually going to be that Victor coming out. So this is another thing that I'm kind of seeing with Fearless Draft is that Victor isn't a pick that, you know, you're going to really highly prioritize moving on. It is a lane matchup that you can play into the Orianna. Also, it gives you some of that poke and range to try and maybe cancel Lucian ult if you are able to hit the R, or just to, you know, take some damage off the board before you move forward. But this is something where it's like, hey, like, if I'm going to pick Azir, I want to make sure that, like, this is a good game for Azir because you can't play him for the rest of the series, right? You don't really have to worry about that with Victor. So, not the highest priority answer, but potentially something that, like, the teams are thinking about in Fearless Draft as well. As, like, a lot of one-off picks, like, one-tricks, they're more likely to let through, and then kind of niche picks like this, they're a little bit more willingness to play because it's going to be less chance it's going to be considered in later games in the series.
But something important to highlight here is it's all bot laners and mid laners locked in early on, which means top lane could be the focus of the second round ban phase. Jungle as well with Vi taking off the table, but Quacker will not get his Darius. That at least is gone in game number 1. We are respecting the fact that he pulled that out as a counter to Udyr, but we know Quacker is somebody who does like that into other matchups as well.
I really like the Jarvan ban too, comboing that with the Orianna against 2 immobile, damage dealers in the Varus and Victor. I feel like that's really good. With Poppy off the board and also Vi taken away, I think we might see Winnie go for something like a Sejuani. That ultimate, the Glacial Prison, you can still actually attack the backline. And I think that the Vi Trundle bans are somewhat to protect the potential Sej pick coming in.
Yeah, now with that Trundle ban, I'm going to double down on that. I was also looking at Nocturne as a potential choice here because it's a fantastic ball delivery system for the Orianna.
Zin's not
could be
bad
the
here.
Xin Zhao. If we want to go for the aggressive bot lane, Xin Zhao can impact that much faster than something like a Nocturne could. But I'm wondering if Will might like to turn the lights out as well. Turning the lights out with something like a Victor Renata behind you is fantastic.
Okay.
I know it's a Viego instead.
It is a squishy team so far for Wildcard, and the Quacker not quite as likely to actually play a tank up top. So maybe they're thinking, hey, we can pick Viego, we can get some resets, but it is going to be the Nocturne, so that combo is available for the Orianna Nocturne, and then hold off Slam for Quacker. It's in his champ pool. It is good, going to be good in most of what Alorum plays, and I'm curious what answer Alorum has.
Olaf top with the Nocturne jungle, so it is Nocturne paired with that Orianna. We're going to turn the lights out, send the ball into the back line, and Olaf blind?
You know what's funny? Trundle's an answered Olaf, so this is kind of like a double ban here, right? It's like, hey, we could open up the Zen or not, but it's going to be the Gragas coming out from Alorum, so definitely something that can try and neutralize the Olaf. Your goal in this matchup is to freeze the lane in front of you so that it doesn't hit the turret. Kind of keep a few creeps there. Force Olaf to consistently overextend. You can just poke with barrels. You can sustain his Gragas. It's fine. If he goes on you, you just body slam and you can walk away with a phase rush, which I expect to see from Alorum this matchup, and also Grasp. And tank Gragas, pretty valuable. So I also really like the displacement they have against the Orianna Milio. That could be very valuable later on. So I think it's a decent pick coming out of Alorum.
Also, the Gragas just got the buff. I didn't know what the exact numbers were, so I just pulled them up
You were
here.
checking?
His armor got slightly increased, his armor growth and health growth, but the big thing is his ultimate has a 20-second cooldown buff at level 1. So instead of 120 seconds, it's 100 seconds for that to come back up, and it's still buffed on 15 and 10 seconds for ranks 2 and 3. So you're going to be throwing out that ult more. You're going to have a little more survivability with higher armor and health. So I think Gragas, overall, I was expecting to see more of on the LCS level too, but we are seeing it here in the NACL for Game 1 of Wildcard versus Mirage.
That's I love the live patch, man. You can just set things up and test it out on the stage and
it's so convenient when you just have your computer in front of you, you know?
It is nice, you know. I unfortunately...
Ask me any stat you want, Cubby. I'll find it for you.
Really? Any stat in the world? Holy
cow.
About
League of Legends and specifically this patch or Challengers League. How about that?
All right, well, now that we have some ramifications.
Yeah.
I do want to set up this game early on. I actually really want to see Wildcard do something on the top side. You have Olaf plus Nocturne. You do have invade advantage against Will if you want to try and check him level 1, especially with Winnie going for the lethal tempo. And if Olaf lands an axe, could be really big. So you can already see Will actually kind of hovering the bot side. I think they might be expecting this. And Mirage Alliance, on the flip side, they have advantage on the bot side, especially with Prismal going barrier plus heal. I'm really expecting to see an early dive bot from Mirage Alliance, given the tech that Prismal want to set up and just what this team wants to do and the strengths of their bot lane.
Yeah, when I see Olaf or Braum or any of those really aggressive level 1 champions that can invade, I'm always disappointed when they don't even think about going for the invade. We saw Wildcard just spread out. They were not like fishing around, dropping vision, seeing if anybody would spot them. They just said, no, we're not going to go for the play, which means that Quacker will be up in that top lane earlier on. Wondering what that laning phase is going to look like, because like you said, one undertow and Quacker can still chase down a lane opponent in a 1v1 too. It doesn't have to necessarily be that invade, but you are also reading the jungle pathing. Will be going towards that bottom side as Winnie will path up. So that means that Aaron Doxa, they need to be prepared if aggression happens bot.
Yeah, and it looks like we have a mirrored clear from each of our junglers here. So Will going for the AoE camps, much like the Nocturne, and looks like we also have a pause.
Nice.
You can see that smooth transition, Kangas, you know?
I was about to take a sip of my coffee, and I'm still going to do it. There we go.
You know, I was going to be locked in, so, you know, this game here. We like to lock in as gamers.
Okay.
Casting desk.
I'm hearing from production that one of the players had an issue with their PC. Reminder, this is Challengers League. We are not playing at the LCS studio, so everyone at their home setups, we do need to restart a PC to make sure that everything's good to go. So bear with us for a brief moment here while we have some more time to break down potentially, like you were saying, some of the win conditions here. You mentioned the pathing from the Viego heading towards that bot lane earlier on, but I want to get more into the mid and late game. Which of these teams do we think has more of a scaling advantage? And I don't know, maybe even if production, we can pull up the pick and ban. I don't know if that's possible to just re-look at the champions themselves in the pick order for the audience to kind of follow along. Oh, perfect. Look at that.
Wow. Look at
beautiful.
This is great.
And we have the Fearless bands up at the top, too.
Yeah.
So this is what they're technically playing right now.
I think as time goes on, so we've seen Lucian, Milio, like, not have a ton of success in the West. It's been kind of a running, you know, joke. Like, you know,
has it gotten a win yet in LCS?
No. But worldwide, I think it does have more wins than K-Corp still. So that's, or at least like in the West, you know, that's fine. Whenever I get a chance, it's too. You know, like there was so I'm on Hotline League every once in a while. I should say every once in a while. It's actually, you know, Mondays.
You're an official host of that show now, yeah.
I've 5 years in counting, so I'm commissioner. You know, it's no big deal. But we, you know, we had a caller like call in and be like, you know, hate will not save the LCS. You know, like you can't be like a hate fan. And like every time I just hear that K Corp is what 08 now, if they would have lost today, I just kind of chuckle. It's like. I take joy in it.
Does that make you a hate? I don't know what a hate fan means.
It does make me a hater. I'm sorry. You know.
So you're a fan of hating another region or of your region? For
example, like the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to the Super Bowl. A lot of teams would have liked to see them lose today because they've been to a lot of Super Bowls. You know, of late. And Patrick Mahomes whines about the refs, so you know it's fine.
Okay. So that's hate fans. They're fans of hating that specific.
All right. Hey, they're 1-7. You know. All right.
Oh, wow. Perfect.
See?
Well, it shows how prepared we were with our LEC, you know.
Hey, we had work today, Steve. All right? We're focusing on what matters, and that is North America. You know?
I think the best thing you can do as a hate fan is not even know the record of the team that you're hating. I'm pretty sure that actually just doubles down
blind
on
hate,
the point you were making. Yeah,
it's just blind hate. That's great. that could save LCS, you know?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. Well,
we asked the players, what champ would you ban? Everyone said Yuumi, you know?
True. Well,
Fun
not
to hate on
everybody, actually. I didn't get my videos in time. I'll own that. But mine actually said their own lane opponents. I talked to some top laners, and they were talking about things like Tryndamere. Yeah.
That's a true top laner.
Oh, my. What is this? Why do I have the Soraka thing? Suffer. I don't know what's going on right there.
They're trying to silence you, Steve.
I think they're trying to silence me. It's clearly on my side. Like, it's under my name. But you were talking about the Lucian Melio, that we got into this whole hate fan debacle. But I agree with you that it doesn't scale as well into the later game. That's one of the weaknesses that we see in those two picks as a comp.
Yeah, Lucian Melio has as many wins as K-Corp does in the West. Or Lucian does, at least. So, like, I think Lucian Melio can play compared to Lucian Nami. The Melio makes it a little bit better later because you have like more range, and Melio just gives you more later on. Whereas the Nami, it's very much like, okay, we're getting one item and we're gonna fight for mid prio whenever we have ults up, right? I think that the scaling is pretty nice there. I will say, I think a lot of it's gonna depend on like if they can get Viego a reset or not. So I think that this game like could be decided kind of early to mid about if they can dive bot. If Viego can't get resets, this game's over.
When I hear things like that, though, I immediately look to what's around the Viego. Because if you're trying to set up a Viego for reset, who does that burst of damage? I like the Varus. I like the Victor. I actually think that Victor ult with an E on top of it, you know, the Varus throwing out those Qs, that's a lot of burst damage for the Viego to then go for that reset.
It is on-hit Varus for this game.
It is.
So it's not poke Varus. So that will make it, like, you have to wait a little bit in the team fight in order to get there. And I think the Orianna Nocturne combo, if executed well, and this is something, again, I give Wildcard and Winnie a lot of credit. We know that Winnie is the team leader within these guys, just from Stu and just from following Winnie, you know, throughout his career. If it's a Winnie team, it's a Winnie team.
It's a Winnie team, yep.
We're going to play as a pack, and we're going to play aggressive for better or for worse. You know, we're going to take some fights that we may not want to, like, we don't see a lot of teams take, but we're going to do it.
Yesterday, the LCS was doing, like, jungle gank counters for River and contracts pre-14. We should do that for just Winnie all game long. Like, how many times does he engage?
That's for chat.
True, yeah. Shout out to Chad. Also, shout out to the pause that we still have going on right now. The players are trying to restart their PC so they can get back to the game. While we wait for them to do that, we will actually be sending to a very short break before we're back with the gameplay as it was when the pause happened. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
I would do full Fearless LCS, not even the NACL Fearless, like both teams can't play the champ.
I don't know. I think it's in a good state right now. I'm liking the format and the games on the weekends.
Take the free money, I chill, and I listen to the people. You know, I'll be a good commissioner.
I'm adding Duo Q back to Masters, GM, and Challenger to revive the social aspect of this game. I have no idea, but I'm sure I would have the power to do that, so I'm going to.
I think I just throw everything out the window, honestly. Like, go full Fearless Draft in LCS or something. Yeah, just try and, like, make some waves.
First, then we'll maybe fire every gem that exists, and we'll figure it out after that.
Definitely makes you have to think it a little bit differently. Obviously, the champs you just picked are not available anymore, so the next game has to be different.
It's interesting because you're still going to play like the meta champs, and only if it goes to game 3 does it really feel like you have to pull something out of your pocket.
I've always had like a pretty solid champion pool. I think that I kind of have more of an advantage.
The one weird thing of Fearless is maybe flex pick value is slightly lower than it used to be. For example, Karma's buffed. If you pick it support, you can't play it mid or top or whatever in the next games. It takes getting used to, but I think once people get used to it, it's good changes.
Fearless is cool. A couple of players that are just 2 tricks, 1 trick, so it makes them a bit out of their comfort zone. For me, I play every champ, so I don't care.
I really wish if it was Fearless, it would be both sides have the Fearless. You know, if one side picks a champ, both teams can't play it. But I think so far it's pretty decent.
For our first match, I meditated with JJ, our assistant coach, and Daption and Lens. I think that is going to be my new pre-game routine.
I always take some time to like step away, either like headphones completely off, like deafened, some meditation and like closing my eyes and like focusing.
My pregame routine is definitely to eat like a really good breakfast, play a couple solo queue games before, and then kind of just relax for maybe 20-30 minutes before the match.
1 or 2 solo queue games into lol dodge game, controlling a little character in like 2D screen where projectiles are flying at you. It's basically like gets your hands warm, and then like a lot of water.
Some teams they have like workout in the morning, some teams they have like stretches before the matches, some teams, for example in C9 we always walked for like an hour at home, so I don't know what I'm gonna do honestly. Playing the ARMs or something. Usually the ARMs are the key to victory.
First thing is I'll eat. It can't be like too soon, but it also can't be like too far from your match, or else you might get like hungry towards the end of it. I take a cold shower, dunk my face in like ice water pretty much, warm my hands under like hot water or like warm water, and then finally I have like an energy drink. I like doing aim labs actually. Like there's a few like exercises in there that are good for league. I stick to that every single match.
Awesome to hear from the players. Some of their pregame rituals, what they would do if they had more power. Also, I did realize I got one of my videos in time because Onat was featured in that one. So props to me. Props to players for giving me time to refill my coffee because we're ready to get back into game now, Cubby. I know we were talking about the draft, so I want to start the conversation back there as we begin the game yet again. We saw it from the Mirage side, talking about the Viego resets. What do we think about from the Wildcard side? Because I really do feel like they need to start early if they want to get a win here.
Nocturne Ori combo. I actually think a little bit is about surviving early, and I think that they have the backdoor win con of Olaf should be good in the side lanes. I will say that Victor into Olaf, unironically, is decent later on. Like Olaf can run through you, but at least with Victor, like you do get some slows and like a Q move speed to try and dodge out on the axes. So like Olaf kind of needs help in order to shut you down. That gets pretty easy though with a Nocturne. So I think Wildcard do also have that backdoor win con if they you know, need it later on. But I think it's really big that at least early on, it doesn't look like there's going to be a bot dive. Crystal and Dardoch already resetting.
Yeah.
And if this bot lane gets off on even footing, the bot lane does get stronger later on with Lucian Milia. So I think it's really big that Wildcard are able to survive early.
And I know I was immediately saying there, you know, as the game goes later, it's tough for them. But, I mean, if we go back to the FlyQuest LCS mentality, Bwippo was saying, oh, 3-item Olaf is actually where it's at.
Yeah.
He can spike later on in the game, too. And when you're looking at the Nocturne, I'm not expecting these early ganks, more so going for that level 6, power farm until you're there, and then make impactful plays. As we see early on here, it has been just that. Power farm for both junglers. We're not interacting with each other yet. Ooh, good stop of the back there from RJS. As Dark Wings was trying to get a reset off and then teleport back into lane, but now he'll have to catch this wave. A pretty slow start for both of the teams, all things considered.
I will say this is the kind of game that Victor likes. Victor is a champion that we haven't seen a lot of, and a lot of it's just because that the meta has been so quick. A lot of it's been about, you know, utilizing mid push to go impact other lanes like bot. Victor is a champ where he very much wants to sit in the lane because he's a good laner, and then he has a lot of good scaling aspects to team fight later. He cannot move. Like if you ever get Victor out of lane, man, it's pretty tough. So we haven't really seen him, but I do think he does those couple elements like really well as a champion right now. And this is the kind of game where he's pretty happy to sit here. Ori will have like that bigger impact in terms of the upfront team fight, but Victor's damage over time, he's got a little bit more range and some tools as well that I actually, part of me kind of does prefer Victor as time goes on in this matchup. And things are chill early. He's very happy with that because he doesn't really have a kit until he gets, you know, most of his abilities evolved, and then that's when Victor really starts to hit his stride.
I actually have been playing a decent amount of mid lane so far this ranked season.
God.
I'm not a mid laner. I'm not going to say I can
God.
play at this level. Yeah. I know. Hey, I'm learning.
That's fine. I've been
playing a lot of Victor. He's my bread and butter in the mid lane right now. The itemization for him is very fun. I personally have loved Malignance as an item to pick up for him because it shreds all that magic resist, and your ult's going to be a lot of your damage in the fights anyway. So I'm curious if RJS is going to rush that or go for something else first. But as we see on the map right now, Winnie is on the grubs, and we'll go for the early pickup on the top half of the map, whereas Will is trading for the dragon.
And just to trade of where the teams have strength in the map right now. Olaf, of course, it did kind of tease. The goal for Gragas is to keep that wave frozen in front of him. So it can be, you know, you force the Olaf to overextend and make him so vulnerable to plays, but of course Olaf still gets pushed with those axes and the strength that he brings early on, so you seem to kind of take advantage of where they have pushed to just get the objective on that side of the map.
Seeing Winnie already level 5 now. Ooh, early trade of ultimates between RJS and Dark Wings. interesting there. RGS knew that he was going to go for a reset anyway, so might as well try and just chunk out Darkwing, see if you get anything. Heron's just jumping into a full wave of minions. Flash, yeah. Wait, what? That was a 2020 Worlds icon there.
Oh, yeah?
What team is that? Oh, I'm blanking on the name of the team.
Well, is it a good team or a troll team?
It was whoever was at Worlds from OS in 2020.
Oh, from OS?
Yeah.
The Chiefs, maybe?
Maybe it was the Chiefs.
Or Mammoth?
Maybe. I don't think it was Mammoth. You know what? I'm not going to dwell on it, but either way, Aaron flashed it. That was pretty funny.
All right, well, maybe he just thinks the logo's cool or something. Of course, these guys have the unlocked accounts. We are on the tournament realm. Helps us play live patch and on the Chicago servers for these guys. Most of our teams are remote now, and I think that actually is something to consider, and actually something that's going to further buff up Wildcard. The fact that, hey, 4 out of 5 of these guys are in the same college, on the same campus. You know, I think that there's a ton of value. I definitely, like, when I was in college, you know, I was responsible for co-founding the varsity esports program at my alma mater, Miami University of Ohio. We're the 9th in the nation, and there's a big difference when you can play as a person. Oh, hold on.
Explosive cast thrown out by Alorem. Doesn't have a lot of damage to follow up, but that is Ragnarok and Ghost popped by Quacker.
All right, I was not expecting to see that. Continuing, though. It's a big difference, you know, when you play in person, like with a team, right? It's a really big difference when you can, you know, look someone in the eye and, like, you know, grab a coffee and just talk about a game rather than, like, trying to do it over a computer. Like, on a very human element, I think that is a really big impact, and at least trying to be better as a team. And that's something that I think Wildcard, like, they're going to have for the most part, which I think is another advantage this team has going in. I know myself, I didn't put them very high in my rankings. I didn't have a ton of expectations for this squad, but always happy when the players can show up and impress. And Wildcard definitely did that week 1, and I'm curious to see if they can continue to do that throughout the rest of the weeks. They got some good gamers over there.
They're one of the teams that I actually think we should have higher expectations for earlier in the season.
I agree.
Because they have that innate synergy. NACL and Challengers League historically... Actually, I might have to put a pin in that. Nope, never mind. RGS should be fine here. Historically, teams can take some time to come online, and often we see full rebuilds of rosters across splits, especially across years. This is kind of the most opposite that we have of that of any of the teams in the NACL right now. So... Wildcard using that synergy when he hits level 6 and is hovering Darkwings right now. Paranoia used. There's the shockwave. RJS flashed early and he goes down. First blood to Winnie.
Yeah, RGS, the flash didn't quite get him out of the shockwave. Gets yoinked back in and cut down by Winnie, as RGS is going to want that one back. That was not what he was looking for in terms of that flash.
Yeah. I couldn't quite see in the moment which direction he was trying to go, but it still clips him at the end of the day, and Winnie has the damage then to get on top of him. RGS doesn't have teleport. He's got to walk all the way in. At least Will catch the wave. Lure him. Okay. Flashes away, throws out the explosive cask. Maybe the mouse wasn't moving as fast as he was hoping it would, but Quacker gets out 2 pretty big cooldowns out of Alorem in the 1v1.
Yeah, that's a feels bad moment.
Okay, here's the replay. Let's see what happens with this flash.
Cass caught a little bit of air on the top side, and RGS's flash also caught air. I like that phrase, you know, you catch air. Oh, he's just right on top of it. So, given where the ball placement is, he's actually got to go left if he wants to get out of the shockwave, because he's, like, trying to flash over the ball and where the shockwave is at. So, props to Darkwings. I mean, the placement was rather good. And, honestly, Darkwings, I mean, he's someone where I streamed a lot of CQ, you know, over the time where it was out. Kangas, you did too. Props to that. Oh, hold on, we gotta pause. Darkwings.
Flash from Will. Darkwing still had his, so he's able to get out of that. Never had to expend it for the gank onto RJS earlier, so a lot of flashes blown. Overall, it's still Wildcard in the lead here as we're dancing around the grubs.
Here.
Mirage wants to go towards it, but yeah, Doxus roamed up from the bot side, so slight champion advantage as Dardoch will now equalize that for Mirage.
Brisble's coming too if they actually want to look at the grubs, as Alorem's going to chase down Quacker. Quacker does not have that ult available. And again, Alorem just trying to push him out of the wave. He's going to lose golden XP for that. Getting away from
they didn't quite get enough though, because now they have to catch the wave bot side. I think I liked the initial idea of prevent them from getting multiple grubs so they don't actually spawn them when they hit the turrets. They had taken the dragon for the grub straight earlier, remember?
Yeah.
But they just didn't quite get the play.
I love the fact you called it out, because talking with a lot of teams right now too, it feels like grubs, you know, if you got 3 or 4 through, it's doable, it's okay, but 5 and 6, that's when you start to get the breaking point of, hey, this is a little bit tougher, our turrets are flying a little bit too fast, and that backdoor win condition of, hey, we can use the Olaf in the side lanes to try and get advantages for ourselves later on in this game. I feel like 6 grubs for Wildcard early on, very strong.
especially when you factor in the Olaf, who's getting these flashes out of Alorum when he's not even popping Ragnarok, when we have the Lucian Melio bot lane that can really shove waves and then try and dive under the opposition when he has his Paranoia available.
All right.
He can take turrets quite fast after these plays.
Angus, this is slowing down a little bit. What were we talking? You got to help me out here. What were we talking about before, we busted? Oh, hold on.
Oh, I think we're talking about Darkwing
Jesus.
solo killing RJS under turret. Sure, let's talk about that.
Oh, okay, automatically. So, CQ, right? We were streaming on CQ.
Yeah.
I had so many people come into my chat and be like, hey, Darkwings is playing well. Like, Darkwings is doing well in CQ. I was like, really surprised by that. And part of that, maybe it's a disservice to Darkwings. Like, I should have some higher expectations for him. But I think Darkwings, especially if he's able to play mages, like, Orianna's been his bread and butter pick for pretty much the last year and a half. I can remember seeing Darkwings play. And I think that Darkwings has gotten off to a rather nice start. Also, I spent a lot of time talking about St. Louis University, the team that 4 of the members of Wildcard are on. I think it's worth noting. These guys pretty much took second in every collegiate tournament.
Oh, flash forward from Quacker. He wants to take the fight, but he does not keep the Ragnarok up. And RJS, hey, what was that about Victor staying mid lane, Cubby? Well, that's a roaming Victor.
It's a free
picking
one.
up the kill.
We take the freebies when we can for RJS. He made out. Staying mid didn't work out for him, right? He had to try something different as the Victor, and that paid off up there as he just take down Quacker. But yeah, St. Louis University, they've gotten a lot of wins in collegiate. So we got the second ranked team. Funnily enough, Winthrop currently competing in OQs too. As I think they're the team that's beating them in everything, and definitely one of the teams that I know that a lot of our Challengers League teams really respect that are in OQs.
But it is, in fact, I mean, they're playing under the Wildcard banner, but that's why we say essentially slew, because 4 out of the 5 players are on that collegiate roster here competing for Wildcard. And they're looking all right to start things off. That was a good play, though, for RJS. The Victor getting a kill. Things were looking a little dicey. I mean, he dies solo. He dies to the first gank. Now he picks up a kill, 2 sacks on the Dark Seal. Is this enough to kind of stabilize the Victor lane now?
I think that the next base that Darkwings has, it will be out of control again. We'll have to see, but I'm a little worried about
Going
that.
for a gank.
Speaking out of control.
Yeah, no Ragnarok, no Flash, no Ghost, no chance of survival for Quacker. As Will go for the gank and Alorum with the kill credit.
And the one thing about Olaf top is that this...
Ooh, Aaron. Oh, he's jumping forward. He autoed the minions, though. Not a lot of damage there on the Prismo, who's trying to turn the play. Aaron's got a flash away. Cleanse used as well. Mirage absorb the paranoia. They absorb the aggression from Aaron and Doxa, and they almost dish it back. Nobody goes down yet, but we do have a roam from Darkwings walking down here. Will's going to have to book it. There's no wave, though. Darkwings can't just walk up. Darkwings might be in trouble now.
Mirage Alliance
don't know that Will's right here.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of damage, a lot of chunk. Shockwave used. Prismal's down. Aaron goes forward for the auto attacks to get the kill. Now Will walking in. RJS as well. Flash forward from Will. Gets the first reset. We're on reset watch, baby. And Will's got the ball in his sights. Double kill to the jungler of Mirage.
Okay, so you know what we talked about? Direction for better or worse from Wildcard. I like the play. They're trying to turn things onto Prismal and Dardoch on the bot side. This lane survived early. There is strength, especially in the mid game as a Lucian. But it's an overstay from Winnie, and that enables Mirage Alliance to come back and respond. Ended up being very big for them, getting 2 kills on Will, who does need resets moving throughout this game. I think it's going to do him a lot of favors.
Ooh, I love the play from Wildcard, like you said initially. But Aaron, I think, just misplays the beginning. Let's take another...
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're going into the Will gank. If we had gone back to when Aaron jumps forward, he autos minions instead of the enemy of champions. And if you look at how low the health bar of Prismal was, I think that would have made the difference.
Yeah, we kind of hope for a little bit better than the dashing in and autoing minions behind you. But, you know, I guess we're still getting into our Challengers League season. Aaron, fortunately, was able to clean up the kill on the Prismal later. It does go down to Will. As Team Overstay coming out from Wildcard. A couple items getting cashed in, too. I do want to say that it is the Luden's Companion for Orianna, and that Malignance that you were teasing on the Victor that I think is quite good. I also think that Witchbane is quite good on Victor, and I want to see if RJS goes that for the second item.
Not a bad second choice. You already have the Magic Resist Shred plus the base Magic Pen from your boots, so feels pretty good. Teleport coming in from the Darkwings, who is... Oh, it's Alorum. Darkwings does not realize he was not watching his flank. Has to flash away, but he does survive.
That play is small, but I love that play from Alorum. I mean, he might clean this up.
We're still at Dark Wings right now. Alorm used his flash to try and get on top of him. Slows with the barrel. One final bop, and Dark Wings goes down.
And this is all going on while Mirage Alliance, they took the Rift Herald and crashed it to take top outer. So it's 2 winning lanes because Alorm had the presence to go bot. And I love that initial play because he knows that Dark Wings is overextended, but he waits until the mini wave's almost dead to threaten the knockback into the turret, and then he finds it in the elongated fight as the Gragas. Alorm, you know, he's a top laner that sees the map so well, and, you know, talking with Alorm, I really enjoy him as a player because, you know, he's been around for a little bit. He was playing in the old Challengers League system when you could promote into the LCS. I think he understands the space well, but also he understands his job and role and still does so extraordinarily well, and I love when he's able to demonstrate that. Because it really is...
Oh, yeah.
It makes, you know, top laners, if you're relevant, no matter what the game state is, I think that's always a great value of a top laner. And Alorm, for me, is very often in his career been able to do that when he has been playing at a level that I expect out of him, which is quite high.
Very active, especially considering the champ he's playing against. Quacker on the Olaf is a terrifying champion for a lot of top laners to go against.
Yeah.
Less scary when he's 0-2 with only a single item completed at 17 minutes. Now we're grouping for the next dragon fight. Mirage have 5 members grouped here. We teleported RJS into the mid lane to walk forward. There is a flank from Quacker. He would be running in alone, and like I said, is not very tanky. So I actually don't love this, but now we have the Paranoia with a full delivery system. Shockwave onto Will and Prismal. They're trying to run away.
Winnie.
Will's going forward, looking for that reset. He does get the first reset. RGS has the damage. Will go down. Shut down claimed by Aaron. 1-for-1 trade so far. Both junglers fall.
But when the ults are down, this is where the Victor can really come in with the Gragas, and just the poke you have between the Qs and the Es from Gragas and Victor respectively. You can see it's really tough for Wildcard to close the gap against that and actually contest this dragon against Mirage Alliance.
And Alorm still has the Explosive Cask, the only one with an ultimate still available. Dardoch jumps in, Explosive Cask got the Dark Wings. We're going to take down the Orianna, but Dox is trying to keep him alive. Not enough healing or shielding. And now the range advantage of Prismal RJS onto Aaron means he's got to go into full retreat mode. We're still on the Dragon. That is earned for Mirage.
Good fight recovery from Mirage Alliance. Again, really appreciate how if they survive the initial ult onslaught, they know that they can win the elongated skirmish with the poke they have from Victor and Gragas. I thought that was really well played. And also love how Alorm, again, so basic, but hey, in that kill he had against Darkwings when he TP'd bot, he took the flash, right? So just target the Orianna that's flashless. It's easy League of Legends, but you know, when we get the basics right, and where good plays can happen, Mirage Alliance got some basics right in that fight and managed to bounce back, get a dragon for themselves. Now they have a little bit of gold lead.
I'm very excited to rewatch this because the Paranoia Shockwave combo is good, but they just don't kill anyone with the initial burst.
Yeah, I will say the Shockwave was cast a little bit too early as it actually pulled Mirage Alliance away from the rest of Wildcard. Do a nice job of trying to clean out the first couple members. But again, like Quackers though, you aren't really useful as the Olaf here. I'm going to see Mirage Alliance just going to keep the dragon there pulled. Set up where they can get RGS and Alorm to somewhat pincer. Drop a zoning barrel. Dardoch finds the engage with a flash onto a flash's target. Easy peasy, knock him into a wall, and it's really tough for Wildcard to play against that and try and stick around.
And like I had highlighted, Quacker's too weak right now. He had the flank during the Paranoia. He runs in and almost just gets popped by all the damage coming out from RJS and Alorm, and then has to immediately just run away from that. So Wildcard, they saw an angle. They tried to go for it. Lose the fight, lose the dragon. Mirage feeling happy about that one, and they're back onto the map, prepping the top half of the map here. Seeing if anybody walks up. Paranoia is used onto RGS, and Will's in the neighborhood. Shockwave again. RGS is still alive. He buys so much time. Can Will equalize? 1-for-1 mid laner for jungler, but here comes Aaron and Dox, and Will's out of there. He's just fine.
So we talked about Wildcard, that backdoor, you know, win condition being try and attack the side lanes with the Nocturne, done so successfully there. RGS was able, he still has flash up, so he's not going to be sitting duck. Another rotation mid. Oh boy.
Looking at Prismal and Dardoch here. Bailout's used. Gonna expire though. Quacker's in trouble, and Alorm with the TP punishes Quacker for trying to get onto Prismal.
Did get both summoner spells out of Prismal, but nice kite back from Prismal to get Alorm into the fight. Waited for that Ragnarok to expire. Ends up being taken down. That was a map-wide play from Wildcard as they shifted their power into top. Tried to shift it into mid from Quacker, who was bot walking up. Not quite able to be successful as Alorm was able to TP and answer, and a good answer from Mirage Alliance.
I know it's unfair to compare players in the NACL to some of the most decorated players in the history of Western League of Legends, but I just keep going back to Whippo's interview last week talking about the Olaf. and saying, look, I'm fine if I'm behind. I'm just going to power farm, hit 3 items, and then eliminate backlines. I won't be killable, and I can do so much damage. Quacker is playing this game like he has to make action happen now, and he just doesn't have the stats to back it up, and I'm wondering if he would maybe benefit from trying to scale up a little bit more. Okay, we are still trying to make action happen, though, with Winnie and Doxa as we get flash out of Alorem. And Darkwings is pushing into this top turret, so we will take one down here. Remember that we got all the grubbies on Wildcard's team. They can still utilize to push those turrets in.
This game feels like kind of weird, Kangas, because it's been a little bit back and forth. I still think that, like, you know, the win condition is kind of like, hey, can Wildcard use their ults successfully? Because, like, if not, it does seem like in the non-alt state, you know, Mirage Alliance, they have a little bit too many advantages in terms of range. So I think that the onus is going to be really on Wildcard to make sure that whatever engage they take ends up being clean.
I think that the engages so far have been... I mean, we've had a couple of good ones, a couple ones that could have been better, but it all will come down to the synergy between Winnie and Darkwings. Can these two pull off the big play? Doxa, as the melee, has to flash away on a solo mission in his own jungle there to try and get vision around the Baron, and will no longer have that summoner spell. He's going to have to play pretty far back now.
It is a really respectful flash that was dropped there by Doxa as Wildcard. The Dragon is spawning relatively soon here. They do have the fast track mid to try and cut Mirage Alliance off. But with everyone showing, it does take away some of the power of Olaf in the side lane. Of course, Olaf doesn't have that TP in this kind of group. You can see Quacker's down 2 levels, and it is one of the win conditions that it's kind of been taken away just because of how well Mirage Alliance has been playing into this Olaf, with just kind of waiting, biding their time, and utilizing the range they have.
This time, though, Quacker will have 2 items completed, will be a little bit more of a threat going into the fight. So watch where Quacker wants to approach from. Last time for the Dragon fight, he had the flank. This time, it's going to be a front to back for all members of Wildcard. And Mirage, like you just said, they're controlling the access point. They have the choke point covered. RJS is slowed, though. Culling used. He's going to get heavily chunked here. Could look to go for a reset and teleport back into the play.
Yeah, I don't love that from Lucian, because if RJS gets back, like, that is Lucian ult down, and it's not going to come up fast enough where you'll be able to use it again. So I think the fact they weren't able to further pressure RJS is good. RJS is going to be back. He's going to be topped off. Quacker's looking for the flank angle, but Prismal is watching it, and the setup looks really nice from Mirage Alliance.
Gravity Well's down, though. RJS runs forward. Quacker's right onto the back line. Chasing down Darda. Flash forward as the rest go in. The combo's clean from Winnie and Darkwings. A double kill over. Lorem goes on the rampage, taking out Quacker, but Quacker did his job. He ran Prismal, Dardock away from the action. Now RJS and Lorem are going to have to make some magic happen on their own here. Watch for Darkwing's damage here. You can still push them away. That dragon is earned by Wildcard.
And really, the fight came from the fact that the engage from Winnie, it split Mirage Alliance, so they couldn't use stuff like the Gragas cast to peel everyone. Everyone was kind of left on their lonesome. As we take another look, RGS is going to go up to try and get away from the Olaf. Quacker's going to push down. And look at the retreat. It's not together. So they're stuck on the Olaf. Lorem isn't able to use his skills to get everyone else off who was engaged upon by the Nocturne Orianna combo in the first place. So they lose the Viego and the Varus. So that's pretty much all your DPS, and the threat of reset's gone. There's no fight with chance for Mirage Alliance after. It's what Wildcard needs to do to win this game. Mirage Alliance have to do a little bit better job at playing defense when those ults are used next time.
That is what the Olaf is excelling at in the mid to late stage of the game. If you can find that type of angle, just run at one of the squishy members, cause chaos. Well, Nocturne Orianna also causes a lot of chaos, so Wildcard playing that engage well. You just said that's what it's going to come down to for them to pick up a win. It's not a win yet, though. It's just a slight gold lead and equalizing Dragons. We got a lot of more League of Legends to play here, folks. It's only 8-10 on the scoreboard, 25 minutes in. And we've only taken 5 total turrets here. Looking to maybe group around this Baron as we're playing the mid lane dance.
That's also where I think some of what Mirage Alliance has going for them is good. You can see Azanya's completed for RGS, and also the Seeker's Arm Guard that now has the stopwatch on it, the old effect, for Alorem. So that is one way to get out of the big upfront damage the Nocturne Ori combo. Pretty much makes the target now Prismal for the side of Wildcard, because you can assume if RGS, if he sees that paranoia coming in and the shockwave, if he is able to react and press Zhonya's quick enough, which is a little bit difficult against the Nocturne Ori combo, with especially how you can kind of hide the cast of shockwave, it's nullified, right? So like, that's just taking those two ults completely off the board, and that's, again, the game state we've seen Mirage Alliance be really successful in.
I am happy. We were trying to get hypothetical about what RJS would go for the second item. This actually does make a lot of sense for that exact reason. It will come down to execution if you use it at the correct time to absorb that engage, but it at least takes the target off of your back for the most part. You almost expect Wildcard to be looking and like, oh, he's got that now. We don't need to have Victor be the priority, which also just opens up options for RJS going into these next fights. Speaking of, I'm thinking that fight could be at the Baron, as Mirage are still pushing the bot side here with Alorum, but control over the Baron pit belongs currently to Wildcard. But as I say that, they are actually going for reset, so it looks like they're not going to be chasing that down anytime soon.
I think it's worth noting in this game that Aaron has completed his third item. Navori giving some of your less cooldowns on the abilities, and some of your abilities a little bit extra firepower behind them too, with how that item's been changed. The Shockwave cast.
Shockwave. Trying to clear out the wave. Doesn't get the turret damage onto Alorum, but remember, that's a very squishy Gragas with mostly AP built and a little bit of armor, as now we pop the Paranoia here to chase down into the bot lane. But it's a mid turret that falls, and Winnie's out of range, so no Paranoia, no kill onto Alorum. He's just going to back reset, teleport to the Baron, and Mirage might have just been gifted this objective.
I mean, direction for better or worse, right? They were trying for the pick on Alorum once the Paranoia was cast. Mirage Alliance and Birthing with bot side. They got the Baron at 4K.
With no Paranoia, no Shockwave, but they got the damage on RGS! How do they pick up the Victor? Aaron with a culling cleans him up.
Baron reset.
Mirage were stalled the Baron. Now it's resetting. Wildcard are here. They're going to start it up again. What just happened?
I didn't see how there was no Zhonya's from RGS. I didn't see how that didn't get off. The Baron was at 4K. They let it reset. Now it's all Wildcard. They can top themselves off. They got healing. Darkwing's holding the door. Big chunk in the Dardock.
Will still has ultimate and flash. He can get into this pit pretty easily, but they're going to go for the fight instead. Ooh, Explosive Cask not getting the engage that they were hoping for. Just a little bit of damage as Doxy uses the Breath of Life to heal everybody back up. It's going to be down to Will to go for a steal.
Yeah.
Wildcard gives it to them. Oh, Alorum goes for the engage. Has the Zonias, has the stasis, has to use it, and still goes down. Teleport coming in from RGS. This fight's been going on for so long. He has respawned, and we rehab ultimates. Paranoia is available. We just take the Baron and run away.
There's no Shockwave. He doesn't want to go in. He turned off the lights to make it harder for Will to get into the pit and steal. Winnie and Wildcard. The direction pays off. It ends up coming out on top. I got to go back, though. RGS, I don't think he got the Zhonya's off in that initial fight, and that was what made the big difference, taking the Victor away early.
I don't even know how he got to the location he was in. I really hope we get a chance to look at that, because I don't want to just keep harping on it. But when you set up the Baron, that's the worst thing that can happen, is the person who is going to do the most damage in the fight to go down before the fight even starts.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's the one that has to hold the door. Like, what Darkwings was doing later in the fight, that's Victor's job if they are on the Baron. The other team's able to come, so him being removed right away, that was a huge win for Wildcard. They took the Baron. This Dragon afterwards is free for them, and this game all of a sudden just got very one-sided in favor of Wildcard from that last set of plays.
Baron picked up, third Dragon. They're on Soul Point now, and Wildcard also have amassed a 3,500 gold lead, a lot of that being at that Baron pit that they just fought at. So yeah, I mean, things are looking solid. They also got the third item on Darkwings completed now, so Oriana's going to be in like one-shot territory towards people like Prismal, who, by the way, is going for the tankier Varus build. Just noticing that right now, but still no magic resist. So Aaron, oh my goodness! Wow, I was just going to say Aaron's not going to do that much damage with that armor he's packing, but never mind. Aaron does, in fact, take down Prismal.
Aaron Flash in the 2020 Order legacy is that culling brought order to the Rift. It removed the enemy marksman, and now they're going to be sieging down mid. They have 6 grubs. These things are going to fall like paper.
Oh my goodness. Wildcard are putting the pedal to the metal right now. Trying to make quick work of these turrets, these structures of Mirage. Already that inhibitor down. They got a wave pushing in bot lane. They're going to look at this tier 2 turret next. And this game went from 0 to 100 real fast here. I don't think that Mirage were expecting any of these things to happen, and they are reeling.
Also I'm kind of surprised that no one did a get down Mr. President here for Prismal. You know, you could have caught that coming, maybe. And speaking of catches, Winnie at least going to be forced to stop the reset. Wildcard makes sure to escort him out. And really, I mean, I gotta give Aaron some props. Like, playing this Lucian Milio, if you pick up a win on this, are you in Challengers League? Is it officially better than the other Western regions if we can win on Lucian Milio?
I don't know if that means NACL's better or worse. I mean, I feel like there's an argument for either way.
All I'm going to say, Aaron's breaking records, man. Week 1,
true.
It was already tweeted out by his director that he doubled the amount of wins he actually had in Challengers League because he was on the team that was 1-35 in CLG Faith. So at 2-0, he doubled it. And now he could double the amount of wins that Lucian Milio has between, you know, the Western teams. I know.
And he can just one-shot Prismal right here. That's a lot of damage. Remember when we were saying Lucian doesn't scale too hot? Well, we might need to reassess that statement. He's doing a lot of damage.
Hey, you got range advantage, you know. You got Milio against Renata. It feels good, Kangas. I don't want this blasphemy on the Rift.
He's got 4 items also. I suppose that helps.
Also, 3 doubles helps. I mean, Aaron's just purifying, man. And honestly, a great story for Aaron, too. He's been hanging around collegiate a lot. He shifted schools a couple times, going from Grandview University, the SLU. He's been kind of climbing the ranks in collegiate in terms of, you know, what he can field for scholarship money as a player. And I gotta say that when, you know, the few appearances that I've seen him make in Tier 2, they haven't been great, but he's been good so far to start off this split. As Darkwing's gonna send a message to Dardoch, like, yeah, I have Death Cap complete.
Yep, he can almost one-shot the enemy support, as Dardoch will finish the redemption. Make it a little bit harder now, but as this Orianna gets more and more items, I'd love to take a look at the gold, actually, to see where everybody's at, because it's 7.2 thousand advantage to Wildcard. I'm wondering who's got the majority of that. It's got to be Aaron, 5-1-2, 326 CS. You were just talking about this kid. Collegiate player, had a pretty rough showing in NACL last year, only picking up a single win on the team that he was playing on, but yeah, I mean, he's on the precipice of tripling that. Every time he picks up a win, it's going to be another number on that X win symbol there.
Talk about exponential growth, Kangas.
Yeah, I don't know how to make graphs, as I think my LCS,
you didn't learn that, Steve the Recruiter? You can't make graphs?
No, that's more of a spreadsheet type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about VLOOKUP? How are the Excel skills going these days?
I'm more of a Google guy. G Suite's my comfort zone. Yeah.
If you know VLOOKUP, you know, you can get pretty far to company.
Noted. Yeah, I'll add that to my resume and then figure it out after the interview. We're into the 50-second mark for the next dragon to spawn. That will be Soul for Wildcard if they can claim this one. And all symbols are pointing to them getting that objective as they have a massive gold lead and control over the area. There are no flanking wards that Mirage can look for.
Lorem has flash up. I think an E flash could be big for Mirage Alliance. Look to try and split up the Lucian Milio or remove one of the carries. As you can see at the moment, actually 30 seconds till the drag. They're just going to catch mid-wave high and try and cut off at least the wave. Deal with the supers is now we have a little bit of a submarine status on the map. Each team Australian style.
Hey, you get our wave, we'll get your wave, and then we'll all just keep staring at each other until the objective spawns.
It's a I was gonna do like a really deep cut here. Who's it's a Ryan Johnson movie, you know, our expectations are being subverted right now when we catch the waves on the other side of the map, right?
True.
Deep cut. Yeah, subversion. Boom.
All right, let's look at Mirage. I think that they are the ones that want to go for the engage right now. It's actually Quacker soloing Dragon. Everybody else in Wildcard is showing. RGS again walks forward to try and trade damage and almost gets one-shot by Aaron. Quacker will solo the Dragon. That is Soul for Wildcard. As now Mirage are going to have to figure out what to do with this Baron. They're going to have to fight into the... one of the worst Dragon Souls that you can fight against when you're behind already, but that's a big engage from the Lorem. Not going to be enough. The Shockwave answer as Winnie jumps onto the backline that has nobody to defend them. And it looks like it's just going to be a sweep. Double kill to Dark Wings. 0 for 5 trade as Wildcard will get everything on the Rift.
I mean, they kind of needed to make that play at some point. It might have not been the play to make, but it was made either way. And unfortunately, Mirage Alliance going to fall. Wildcard, I'll give them props again. I think the direction they've had has really done them a lot of services. Turning around that bot play was big. These team fights, the Nocturne Ori combo, they get to start things on their terms, and their terms have been better than other teams early on with this pre-existing synergy and how well they played in this early season.
Fantastic start of the split for Wildcard. 3-0 right now as they'll take down game 1 against Mirage. And again, the game was even until it wasn't. There was that one big fight at the Baron where Mirage are setting up for it. RGS goes down, and it felt like that was the moment everything fell apart. As soon as Wildcard got a tiny lead, they were able to eventually snowball it. And Aaron in particular looked fantastic. Oh, do we get a replay of that moment? Oh no, this is the final team fight. All right. Solid engage from Alorum. If the team has more gold and can survive more, I think it's going to look a lot different, obviously, but that was not the case.
I mean, this is also, like, you can see the value that Emilio has in scenarios like this. Like, Emilio does scale really hard in these games, and Doxa, with some of those campfires and shields, able to pretty much keep everyone alive so that no one gets one shot either. As, thought that some of the defensive items coming in kind of help Mirage Alliance survive the Ori Nocturne combo, but also I don't think that we saw the patience that we wanted to see from Mirage Alliance, quite like the one dragon fight they won. I think that some of the map positioning they had just kind of in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and Wildcard were able to really take advantage of that by not enabling them to find like the slow pokey fights. Instead, it was really Lucian that took control of putting down the poke, and I think that gave him a big advantage.
Well, I don't know whatever Alorum was throwing out in that video that they posted on socials, but it was clearly not game 1, because that one did not go their way. We're going to send it to a short break before we're back for game 2 of this best-of-3 series right after this.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
Introducing the new Footlong Sidekicks at Subway. Try the warm and delicious Footlong Cookie, Footlong Pretzel, or Footlong Churro.